Start a coffee cart. Now you probably clicked on this video and you're probably coming at me with an axe, wanting to tear me down and tell me, my goodness, I can't believe Christian just said why baristas shouldn't start a coffee cart. Like most of the people that are baristas, like start a coffee cart. And to that reason, I think that is why I want to go more into the gray area. And just talk about why I think baristas should not start a coffee cart. And I'm going to give my reasons why. I'll have kind of three key things of why. And to my point, though, is you have to ask your friend or ask yourself how many people that you know that like are a barista that start a coffee cart business or really just, any business industry go out of business in 2 or 3 years or 4 years, or they're drowning in debt. You only see the highlight reel, right? And so from my standpoint, I started like analyzing the data and the research behind like the top coffee cart people, in the industry. And a lot of them weren't baristas at first. Like they were just business people. They were in sales, they were in marketing, in real estate. They're in different industries. So that just got me thinking of like, okay, well, we think that the best business, it would make sense for a barista to go ahead and start a a business inside their skill set. But you have to realize that the skill set of just being a barista is a totally different skill set of being a business owner. And that doesn't always translate, or a lot of times it doesn't translate. And so the first thing you have is the skill sets of what is the thing that makes up that person to get that person to be able to do the thing. So, like skill set of a barista, how to talk to a customer, uh, how to pour latte art, how to dial an espresso, how to understand different milk patterns, syrup recipes. So I don't want to go too much in depth with all the different skill sets, but you kind of get what I'm putting out. Then it's just the mentality. So there's a different mentality of being a barista versus being a business owner. I can guarantee you, you can ask anyone that has tried to be one or the other, and it's just different. Usually you like working the events in a coffee cart, or you like the other side of the sales and marketing. It's very rarely where you're going to find someone. There's always outliers. It's very rarely though if you're going to find someone that just loves the side of the business, the sales and the marketing, and then like loves doing the events and being there. It's usually doesn't split. I like doing some of the events, but what I really love is doing the sales, doing the marketing, doing the offering. That is the business side of things. I was not a barista. I've never actually been an official barista at a shop other than like the shop that I work for free for 2 months. I opened up that shop just to learn a lot. It's a whole different lesson. I think a lot of people should work for free, regardless if you can take something out of it. And the other thing, the third thing is the love of the game. It's a totally different game to be a barista and then to be a business owner. And so when you're starting a coffee cart business, you are being a business owner. Like you have to, or you need to switch that. And so this is where the hope comes in, where you're thinking, well, then there's other, like I know some baristas that are great business owners. But you have to realize they weren't a barista though. They had to switch their skill set, their mentality, and the love of the game from being a barista to a business owner. You cannot be a good father. Well, I'm trying to think of a good analogy that I could really uh, try to explain this. It's really hard to be a man. I cannot think of the example. Regardless, it's hard to be successful in one area where it takes totally different skill sets, different mentality, and different love that you have than somewhere else. That's why when you have a kid, it's great to have a mom and a dad. They're just different. And if you're trying to be one of the other, which you're not, then it doesn't work out well. It's a partnership. So where I would go from this is that if you want to run a successful coffee cart business, you have to transfer your skills, you have to transfer your mentality, and you have to transfer that love, that passion into being a business owner. And if you cannot do that, then I would say just keep being a barista. Or what you can do is you look at the partnership and you're like, I kind of want to start this business, but I just want to do events. I want to pour latte art. I want to head over the baristas. I want to be in charge of the recipes, in charge of fill in the blank of what you want to do when you're being a barista. And you bring on someone that understands business very well and that loves that. It's going to be really hard to go against someone like me that has a love of the game for business, that has that mentality for the business, and has skill sets for the business when you're focused on the baristas. And I wish it was so, but more times than not, or 99% of the time, the thing that's going to grow the business is not your barista skill sets or your mentality. It can help start. Sure you could do a couple events, but you can ask anyone, people that I mentor, where some of them came in being a barista and they had a totally shift. So That's why baristas shouldn't own a coffee cart. You have to shift from being a barista to a business owner, or you get a partnership and you bring someone in. If you're like, I don't want to do that, and I'm realizing this, I honestly think a better business to start, which I'm kind of contradicting myself, but just there's nuances into the business world, is it's better probably just to be the technician. So if you're a barista and you're like, I want to make more money and I want to have maybe some business, but I really just love what I do. I don't want to have to do like all the sales and the marketing. You're going to have to maybe do some of that regardless on this idea. But I probably would look towards doing like a course or a class on school or some or a WAP where you're training people at home how to be a better barista, how to pour latte art. You charge $15 a month, go out that go the volume game, or you could start kind of like a master class where you kind of go out to different coffee shops and you train them the art or the lost art of barista skills and single origins and maybe a couple of like different ways of like understanding different concepts of hospitality skills and how they could directly correlate that in their program, or you target hotels and you go in because that's going to be more in your realm and the skill set, the mentality, and the love of the game for being a barista than it would be a business owner. Yes, it is still a business, but I would say there's few businesses that can directly be more on the side of a technician, like doing it rather than being the business owner. And so it's a good example of the art dealer. I don't know if it was a parable or I remember hearing this, but this art guy is really good at painting art. And he's like thinking, wow, like, man, I'm doing this, I'm painting these paintings within this group that I'm being hired by. You know, oh my goodness, I love doing this. Why don't I just like go start my own business of painting art and I can make more money? And so he goes in, and the first month goes by, he's like, oh my goodness, I have all this freedom, and I'm getting to paint the paintings I want, and I feel like there's opportunities to make more money. And then 3 months goes by, and he's like, like, okay, this is interesting, but then I gotta like, before I was like, I was just worried about painting, but now I gotta worry about invoices, like I gotta get people to come see my paintings. I gotta be able to make sure that I gotta ship the paintings out. And then month 6 comes around, and he's like, man, I hate painting. I hate it. I don't want to do this anymore. What changed? He's still painting because he thought that it would directly correlate or translate when he was painting under someone else or that business and starting his own. And so what he realized he had to make a shift that he wasn't aware. He had to make a shift of something he wasn't aware of, which was trading the skill set, the mentality, the love of the game of like art to having to be a business owner. And so he just stops. He goes back to where he was, and he was happier. And so I think sometimes it could be you can learn from that parable. I don't know where I heard that from, but I thought that was really really good because I've seen that in so many people where you are the barista, like I started a business, and then you go out and then you are running the business, and then 7, 8 months in, you're hardly ever at the cart. You're being a barista, but the rest of the time you're handling invoices, you're marketing, you're getting people on the phone. Like I hate doing all of this. This is not what I signed up for. I just want to pour latte art. I just want to serve customers. I don't want to do any of this. And the thing that you actually loved doing before, now you hate doing, and it's hard to get back to that baseline of like loving to do that. So I don't make this as a black and white thing, more as a cautionary tale from a maybe I don't know from a big brother or a guy in the game of seeing people burn out or start or shift. And so there's hope. But if you're going to be a barista and you want to get into the coffee cart business, you're going to have to stop being a barista and you're going to have to start being a business owner. Or you find a partnership with someone that's really loves being being the more so owner of the business fundamentals, and you just focus on all the hospitality, the barista side, and the services side. So that is that. Take that with what you may.